This thing is fine. Good Lord have
I
mercy.
tell you, shoot,
Lord have mercy. You gonna make me take your tongue.
Y'all gonna mess around and be a different show?
Go ahead.
Had to change the name to a Prince Convenience.
Y'all, it's crazy.
She said, bring a snack. Look, she said, bring a snack.
I told you I brought a snack now.
You done met me where I was at.
Snack.
You ain't even seen that omelet he done cook for you.
No, hold on. Let me fix my hair.
A little bit of spinach, a little bit of meat. The omelet's ready.
What?
Little greenery in the omelet.
Y'all's funny. Okay.
Bagels.
Great. So thanks so much, you guys, for coming over to my house for the podcast Potluck. I am so excited. We are here on the edge with April Mahoney. We have comedian Tanya Lewis, and we have stand-up comedian Troy Rollins. This is going to be funny as all get out, y'all. So what I like to do is I like to have a little visual experience every now and then. Girl, take a picture. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me smile.
I'm going to say, yes, look at this. Look at that.
Look at that. That is too cute. Okay.
Look,
that is too funny.
Trying to record the stuff.
Did you, yeah, and that omelet. What you make with that omelet? And a bagel. Y'all eat bagels down there?
You better go ahead.
Yeah,
eat bagels where?
No, I said,
in Los Angeles.
You in Burbank. Okay, so Brains, let me introduce you to our guest, okay? Before we just kind of get into this. Pineapple? Okay. We got Troy Rollins. He is out of Burbank, California. He is a stand-up comedian and also a relationship expert. So we're going to be talking about relationships. We've got Tanya Lewis, who is a Christian clean comic. Now, I like that. You know, you don't have clean comedy like that. Tell us, we're going to start with you, Tanya. Tell us all about you and how you got started in comedy of all things.
Well, I went on Craigslist and I was looking for an opportunity for my daughter, right? Like the personal place. I went in the personal place. I was looking in the part and it said gigs, and I was looking for something that said showcase your Christian talent. She was looking for a Christian comedian. And I'm like, what? It's like I heard God like behind me, tell me you're a Christian comedian. So at the time, I'm like, I'm trying to be a Christian right now, somebody a Christian comedian. But like all my life, people was like, you funny, you need to do stand up. I'm like, I ain't never been in no art. What he sitting there laughing for, Troy? And the lady was like, I'm looking for a Christian comedian. It's funny because he get you started, he'll set you up. So I did it, and I had my first event, and it's been going from there. So I started off, I was labeled as a Christian comedian, but I actually do Christian and clean.
Well, that is wonderful. And so now, where are you located? You're on the East Coast. You're in Maryland.
Yes, I'm in Maryland. So I'm in the DMV area.
Well,
she's from my neck of the woods. She's in my neck of the woods where I'm from.
Okay, you from Boston originally. Baltimore. Well, at least
Baltimore.
Well, at least
you still cool. You still cool.
At least they still laughing down there in Washington, D.C., near Maryland.
Yeah. She said, really? We knew.
So Troy Rollins, you are Burbank, California. You are north of me. Tell my brains all about you and how you got caught up in comedy and making it funny with relationships, because you're hilarious.
Oh man, I've been I was a comedy brat, but I've been doing I guess I started producing shows when I was like in high school, and I got into comedy later on. I got into doing comedy and hosting events and doing stuff, and at about, I think it was like 2000, 2001, I was hosting a music night, and the owners of the venue were like, hey man, you're really funny. You should have your own comedy night. And I was like, yeah, one day I do it. He said, so what night you want? Wow. I was like, say what? And I was always hosting, but I never related it until another comedian friend of mine, Larry Lancaster, saw me, and he said, man, you're really funny. How long you been doing comedy? I said, man, I've been hosting events and doing shows all my life. He said, how long you been doing comedy? Because they kind of separated. He was like, stand-up comedy, I was like, I don't know. He said, how long you been writing your comedy? And when he said that, I was like, oh, I don't write. I do a lot of improv. I do a lot of stuff like that. And I started realizing that there was a craft to comedy.
Right.
And and people I had already had my first paid show in 2001, but then I started really getting to the craft of comedy. And then when I had my comedy night, you know, it became like the workout room in Baltimore.
Right.
And it really, I always had a love for it, but I got more of appreciation for the craft of writing and
okay.
producing.
Where you going, Tanya? I'm seeing you look all up in the sky. Who's in there in the house with you? Okay. Where you going?
Like about to go down.
I'm trying to see who all in my back.
Not the police.
Just the Lord and I was in
here.
Like,
okay. Well, tell the Lord. Well, tell the Lord to turn down the back feed. What you got? You got the TV on? Who in there?
No, I don't have the
Hold
TV
up, if
on,
the Lord talking to you, he's saying got something to say.
Yeah.
Tell us all.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful.
You notice everything.
Everything.
You in the upper room because you start looking up like.
I know. It's like
I
thought he's about to descend. I was like, good Lord. Okay. So I want to ask you guys some questions. Let's just kind of have a round table about some hot topics that is going on in the world today, because it is cray. Now, tonight is the Oscars. And what y'all think about them not having no host and Kevin Hart saying, no, I don't want to do that? When is funny no longer funny? Is when you wipe that cream cheese.
I saw the butter.
He sucked it up like a dragon.
Hey, that's what it's for. That's what the tongue is for.
That is funny. That is funny. So when is funny not funny?
It's pretty interesting. The fact that they don't even have a host is going to be pretty interesting. But I think with Kevin Hart, the community, I think he turned it down because the gay community or something there was some backlash for something he said for years ago. Right. He apologized for it. Mm-hmm. And I think him doing the Oscars would have been like a perfect opportunity to just go back. And I mean, when you do things, especially being a comic, they forget. I mean, they remember everything you said, but he apologized for it. So I think he should have did it personally.
Yeah, I mean, how many times you gonna say I'm sorry for something? Everybody makes mistakes, and that is what comedy is. They making a funny out of something that's very serious. I mean, Richard Pryor wouldn't have never done it. Joe Bellucci. There's so many comics that really kind of just go off the beaten path. What do you think, Troy? Do you think that Kevin Hart should have given up on it?
Somebody made a good comment. You know, because if you look at Delirious and Raw, which are pretty much comedy staples for at least any black actor, Adam Sandler and everybody talk about how Eddie Murphy was like their cheat, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but look at Delirious and Raw and look at the fact that in the 80s, you could use certain homosexual slurs like it was nothing, and Eddie used all of them. They wanted Eddie to host the Oscars, but the climate of now is that if one particular person or some people just didn't want Kevin to do it, all it takes is stirring up something and throwing it in the pot of social media, and it gets big. And you're right, comedy, for years we've been able to say whatever's on our mind, at least in the light of the comedy club. But what happens now is it's just like, especially in the United States, it's just like everything is hypersensitive.
Oh, I know. You can't do nothing.
Oh my God.
You can't say nothing, and it's ridiculous because that stuff do be funny. You know, that's another reason why I don't do a lot of high profile entertainer, you know, celebrity gossip and all that. Number one, that's not how I want to show up in the world. But number two, it is so important that, you know, you respect people's dignity, but this shit be funny. You know? And you know, you want to laugh, and you're not laughing at them, but it's funny. So I want us to keep telling jokes. Okay, talk about jokes. Let's talk about these other two jokers. Jesse Smollett and R. Kelly. Now they both in Chicago. They gonna be in the cell. They gonna probably sing lullabies to one another because it's going down. They are crazy.
They now that's something right there because they said the full story didn't come out, so it's like, who do you believe? Whoever he paid the Jesse.
Okay.
Whoever Jesse, but he paid somebody by a check. Now if you're gonna have somebody beat you up, do not give them a check.
Okay.
How you gonna write a check to somebody?
Who does
$3,500? I try not to mess
so
with
many
people,
different
but
ways to mess up.
he paid
He
$3,500.
I'm from South Central LA, and you know that you don't pay nobody with no check. That's ghetto 101. That ain't what you do.
Like, look, y'all
So
gonna make this happen. Like, but look, don't cash it on Monday.
So it's like, man.
Wait, and then they got two brothers that you know they gonna co-sign on each other and throw him under the bus.
Look.
And then did you notice that his face had a little scratch? It had a little scratch on it because see, that's his money right there. He can't get his face tore up, man. Whatever you do, don't bust me in the face, man. Hit me in the back of the head, hit me in my knee or something. But you know, my face is my money.
Chicago police picked them up and let them go within the same 2 hours? So that should let her and see he saw him on a video and he's like, do you think these are the men? Tanya, this is the thing that messed me up. I heard one of the interviews and the lady came out. You know how they bring the prosecutor out and they say all the charges in front of the reporters and everything that's going on.
Right.
They did that a couple days ago. Black lady came out and said yes, and she started reading everything that was on the report. She said when the cops were at his apartment interviewing him, he said, I believe it was a camera out there. So the camera should have some footage. Who do you know that's ever got jumped? That after they got their behind whipped, looked around and said, oh, whew.
Thank Lord there's a camera up there. Well, maybe some people that's been jumped.
I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So maybe he know we live in an age where they record everything.
Hey,
I don't know. That's just, oh gosh.
When that lady broke down the whole report that the prosecution is bringing, why? Because when they get a federal grand jury, that means you did something serious. Plus, it went so far. Chicago Police Department and so instantly it became weird. It seemed weird to me when I first heard the story. He went to a subway, 2 o'clock in the morning. They jumped him, and like no one saw it. No one saw two white guys jumping a black guy and pouring bleach. No one saw it at all.
Right. Wait,
like there were no witnesses. Subway, there were no witnesses that saw it.
And then wait a minute, he got the nerve. They have the rope tied around his neck when he gets to the hospital. See, look, they tied the rope around my neck. I want somebody to see this. I want evidence.
He had it on his neck when he got to the apartment. He said he wanted the police to see it just in case they could get fingerprints or whatever. But then he saw the video and they said, they have a video. You believe these are the two men? And he said, yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. Maybe he thought because they were gone to not see, here's the play out. They were going to Nigeria for whatever holiday for their family. So they had been gone for like 2 weeks. As soon as they got back to the airport, the cops were waiting for him at the airport like, yeah, come on, brothers. We saw y'all, because I guess he thought that they would just let it go with the investigation. But when they started having holes in it, it was just, I'm just wondering, they said it was to try to get more money. I know he had a new album coming out, publicity. I don't know.
He makes $20,000. He makes $20,000 an episode. And Taraj and the other guy, they make $75,000 per episode.
Yeah, Terrence Howard and Taraj, I bet.
Terrence Howard, yeah.
Because I didn't know who
They've been on the for a minute.
But he was a nobody before Empire, and the brother had
I didn't know who he was.
He had a little sing song in him. He was doing that, and they was dressing him up real cute. He was looking like brand new money, and now he's small change. And then R. Kelly, okay, he can't bail out. It's $1 million, but bless his heart, he can't count and he can't read, so he don't know. He don't know what he's just sitting there saying now, and it's awful.
I'm still messed up about that R. Kelly interview when the guy interviewed him and said, do you like teenage girls? And he was like, when you said teenage, how old do you mean? The guy said, a teenager. When you say teenage, how old do you mean? He said, a teenager.
13.
I don't know.
He can't count, so he don't know 13, 14, 15 versus 25, 26, 27. He don't know what's going on. Okay? And
I had one experience where I met R. Kelly in 1994. Superfest 94 in Baltimore.
Mm.
And I wondered about this because this was after the Aaliyah situation where it came out. And all these grown women were going crazy. We're in Baltimore, downtown Baltimore. All these grown women going crazy over R. Kelly, losing their mind. And I'm wondering, I see him near the limo, and his dance is even bad.
Oh, yeah.
And he's over there near his limo, but he's talking to these girls that are young. You know, I'm just out of high school, so you can tell when it's a bunch of women. Like DJK Capri is doing the after party. All these women, you know, are in the hotel party area. He's out talking to what look like seemingly little girls. And I said then, I was like, you know, money doesn't change you, it enhances who you are. So if you're like that before money, you're gonna be like that after money times 10 or whatever, how much money you make, you know.
So how he gonna be now? He's broke. Okay, he's back on child support. He's jacked up. The record label has dropped him. Nobody's gonna put up with it. But it took him far too long. And these girls are damaged. And I'm kind of wondering about, you know, some of these parents that were paid off, or some of these young people that was paid off. You know, I don't know. It's an ethics issue. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the Christian church. Hallelujah, Sister Tanya.
Uh-oh.
Tell us what is going on.
What happened?
Tell us what is going on down there.
The church ain't but the community, a smaller community, with the Lord hand on it, like, please, y'all. Calm down.
What's going on down there in your world?
I haven't been in 2 weeks.
You going to hell?
I ain't going to hell, but I love my church. Yeah, I was in a church for 9 years, and God brought me out of that church. And when I say I went back and forth with God, like, nope, I ain't going to this church. And the church that I go to now is like so different from the church that I went to, because the first church is like a mega church, and so I could be out 5 or 6 weeks, nobody noticed. And with this church,
time you come, they act like you're a new member.
5 minutes late. They be like, "Where you
since I ain't 9 years."
So I'm in more of a structure. They know where I'm at, what I'm doing. It's more accountability. And I guess God, where I'm at in life, God, like, oh, you need more accountability. But I love going to church. I love God. I'm a faithful member. I just had surgery last week, so I haven't been to church.
I saw that you had posted you had did you have a major surgery?
I thought you said I had a baby. I'm about to cut the whole screen off.
I thought you said
I thought you said I had a baby. No, I had my gallbladder out, which was worse than having a baby. I had 3 C-sections. When I say this gallbladder pain,
oh my goodness.
I was on my knee. You thought she said baby too.
I thought she said that too. I thought she said, "Oh, sorry, you had a baby. Where'd it go?"
You listen over there, listen to some R. Kelly. No.
Over there bumping and grinding.
Millions of listeners. Tanya did not have a baby. No. My youngest is 17, almost 18. I'm empty net. I don't have any kids. Don't plan on having kids. In fact, I don't date nobody that want to have no kids. Nobody look like no kid. I'm done with kids. I put my work in. But no, I had my gallbladder out.
Oh, wow. So Troy, she say she don't want nobody. Okay. What is it when a woman say that she don't want she say she didn't want nobody with no, okay, let me clarify. She didn't want nobody that wanted no kids. Okay? Now you the relationship comic. What is she really saying?
She trying to make sure your microphone works. She was like, why don't you keep saying I got kids and I don't want nobody? That's not what I said, April.
That's why I brought the beer, right?
April done started off with, she got some cerveza over there. I'm sorry. The alcohol messing with my ears. What'd you say, baby?
Oh, Lord have mercy. So really, you're a relationship comic, and you have the greatest platform because you'll come and you'll take questions from the audience, and then you'll answer the questions with the most, hilarious response, but you also put some wisdom in there. So when you hear a fine thing like Tanya say, I don't want nobody with no kids, what is she really saying?
She's saying she don't want no damn kids. I mean, the last of the Mohicans is 17. My daughter's 7. When my daughter turns 17, I have plans for that part of my life going forward too. So it's like, and I love daughter, but I get it. How many kids you got, Tanya?
3. And
Yeah,
I was a
3
single
kids.
parent. My kids were 2. So
you were a single parent with 2 kids?
I was a single parent for pretty much all their life since they were 2. So my kids are 17, 18, and 22. And next month, I'll be a grandma.
Start driving. Right.
Hello.
You gonna be a grandma?
Yes.
So when those kids start driving, go shopping for you, and when the kids can introduce you to something, when you can go to the bar with your oldest, that means the kid situation is it's kind of crazy. But it's all good. Here's the thing about today. Back in the day, you used to have to meet somebody in person, go through being with them, meeting their representative,
right?
Figuring out how many dates y'all can go, how attractive you are, this, that, and that. Now you can just go in their social timeline and say, no, you did have a child back 3 years ago, and I ain't seen you with your kid.
Right, right. All you gotta do is a Google search.
I met a lady who she met her. I was doing a talk show last week, taping near San Diego. It was Vista, and a lady there says she met her husband of 10 years on eHarmony. She told her cousin went on eHarmony. She met her husband. They told somebody else. They met her. I was like, y'all need to go to eHarmony and they'll give y'all 7 figures for that commercial.
Okay.
I said, y'all need to tell people that three people got introduced and met their husbands or wives or whatever on eHarmony. I said, it's a different time. You can meet somebody on social. I know people that met people online.
I know people that's gotten married. To me, that's creepy and icky. I just can't do it.
It is a little creepy. I'm old school. I want to meet somebody in person.
I need to touch it and feel you and sniff you. And
well, you missing.
And see, really, see if you're worthy. I've been with Mr. Magnificent 34 years, so I wouldn't even know how to get my game tight. But you know what? A lot of women don't.
I can tell by the lingo.
That's what I understand. Like, I know a couple people, they date these international, because you had the people from Africa and stuff, they be hitting on the people left and right. I got about so many people. I said, God called us to the nations, but Lord, it's a whole different meaning. The Africans, they be blowing me up. Oh my God. I'm barely a citizen.
Oh, you're so beautiful when you come out.
They meet and marrying the people and haven't even met them. I'm like, we got a meeting and calendar and all that.
So they trying to get over here, but I tell you, they ain't getting over here. Okay, they not getting over here. See, when they say immigration, folks are just thinking that the immigrations is just looking at the Mexicans, but you fail to realize how many immigrants is coming from all over the world. We got a bunch of Africans, we got a bunch of Asians, we got a bunch of Mexicans, but they want to focus on the Mexicans. But
I would say
they better get their taco right, because it ain't going down like that. It is not going down like that, okay? These folks is coming over here in droves, and we better be paying attention.
You know what? That explains something, though. I know some sisters that married Latino dudes. All of a sudden, this sister kicking it with this Latino dude. I was like, man, how'd y'all meet? Y'all met at the same job? It's like, yeah, he was around my job. Where was he at in your job? Outside on the landscaping crew. You met him out there? Well, he was outside my job. I've seen people, but it makes a lot of sense. I was wondering, I've been seeing sisters get with these Latino brothers, not normal like Rico Suave looking dudes. I mean, the short Mexican dude that looked like he can throw some rocks. So that's terrible. Somebody,
he better not be down here by the border here in San Diego throwing no rocks, because they got the army and everything else down here trying to get them. They crazy. Troy, I want to ask you a little bit about relationships and your daughter. Okay, because again, you fine as wine. Are you single?
I am single now.
So
well,
how you working
I'm
that?
single now.
Okay, so how you working that? How you tossing that around? You telling everybody how they should do their thing, and you ain't trying to commit on that. Yeah, I got to put you on Front Street and run you over. I got to do it.
I ain't. You know what? I've focused so much time and energy into raising my daughter, and I didn't think that was a thing. I had enough. I didn't have I'm 40. I'll be 44 on Thursday. So
happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks. So I had my daughter when I was 36. I waited. So, but when I had my daughter, I was like, what was I doing before her?
Don't even make a itch. Who you waiting? Oh Lord.
Yeah, right. So for me, it's like, I told my daughter's 7 now. We can have conversations. So I was like, if I bring somebody to the table, it's kind of like you got to approve them too. I can't just bring somebody. I've always been a discreet person, but I'm 44. I don't want to be the cat in the club with the keys talking about y'all need to ride with the grocery store. I need to ride home. Shorty, I can get those bags for you. No, come on. I'm 44 years old, so if I meet somebody, they kind of got to be the total package. They got to have the mothering thing down packed. They got to be good for me. It's got to be because this is a part of my daughter's me. You know what I'm saying? It's not even an option to have somebody that's trifling or doing whatever. Not that I kicked it with that kind of women anyway, but so.
Why not? Little trifling's good. That's my brother's.
Trifling was good.
I'm ashamed to say it. My brothers say they like somebody that's either I like me a tramp or I like me even trifling. And I'm saying,
April, I got to be able to have a conversation afterwards. If I can't have a conversation with you afterwards, we got to pray. If we sitting there like, what you about to do? I don't know what you about to do. Somebody about to leave. You got to come up with something. What you doing tomorrow? I don't know. No, we got to have a conversation after. We have something in common. You got to intrigue me before we ever get there. The sexual interaction and the attraction, that's very easy. But what is this person talking about after y'all
Right.
Yeah, what you saying? What you name again? No, that's it. See, that's
exactly. So
it's got to be more than that.
A lot of women, they sisters in the church, they want a church man. They want a good church man. And women are enamored by the pastor. Girl, they love a man in a suit. They can scream and holler and bug his eyes. They get off on that. What's going on in the church scene as far as dating? Because you're single now. You out there on the grind. What's going on? Not literally on the grind. Maybe I should put those two together.
Sure, they all holy in the daytime, and then at night they want to lay hands on you. Because I used to date a pastor.
Oh,
and honey, when I tell you, it's like a whole different game part. I mean, I was like, oh my God.
Is that like, good laying hands, like caressing, or hands like? Because I knew some pastors that was. Yeah, I knew some pastors that were Mike Tyson kind of dudes too.
That is crazy. Speaking of crazy, I've been seeing this a lot lately with regards to sexual abuse. There are a lot of men that are being sexually abused and physically abused by women, by their wife. They putting hands on them. For some reason, women got it twisted like they can't go to jail. And there's a couple pictures of men here on Facebook that really, I looked at Bow Wow. baby, she scratched a new road on his face. Okay, his money is up.
He asked for every part of that. I don't know what I can say. Butt whipping. He asked for every part of that butt whipping because I was on TMZ talking about the video when he was on the elevator with this girl. He was all in her face on this, and this girl was looking around like, you ever see somebody about to get in a fight and the person is looking around like I'm just waiting for them to touch me? It's not. I don't know, man. That's my passion and my mission in life is to help men and women communicate better in love. I think we have a huge disconnect with one another just because of the way, and it's not just hip hop, it's not just movies. It's been a long time, but when you calling the woman bitch and you calling the dude my N-word,
right,
flowing and second nature, and then the video vixen stuff. What you the video vixen piece.
Y'all said bring a snack. I got blueberry.
I brought the beer. He got the omelet.
He done showed off.
Yeah, but wait, he only brought one omelet. You were supposed to make extras whether it was virtual or not.
Oh, I got some pineapple left.
How old is your daughter?
Huh? What'd you say, Tony?
How old is your daughter? 7. How old is your daughter? 7? Okay. That's a good age.
Yeah, she's 7.
Okay. That's good.
And then watching the Cosby show, I had to grab. I picked up one day after school.
Oh Lord!
And she was like, "Daddy, can we go watch Mr. Cosby?" I'm like, "Hey, shh, hey."
Yeah.
And you a single father?
And I have no empathy for him. I have a backstory. I have a backstory about Mr. Cosby that I'll share with y'all offline. But I have no empathy for him. People forget that he was an actor too. He done played a fat boy on as a cartoon character. He's the Jell-O pudding man.
Fat Albert.
Yeah, he played I Spy, America's Finest Father. He is an actor, and that is what his career and his life was all about, was pretending to be somebody else. And these other actors and stuff, y'all better be careful when you standing out there co-signing on somebody, because you don't know what nobody do. You have no idea. Oh, no, he wouldn't do this. Or, Jesse wouldn't do that. He's this, he's that. You don't know what's rattling around in somebody else's brain.
They confuse the character with the real person. A lot of people forget that. At the end of the day, when the lights and camera off,
exactly.
We are human.
And I heard, and like I said, I heard things about Bill Cosby too, from more than Bible, so people that were personal friends of mine, and So it, like I said, it doesn't. I don't know if it was Steve Harvey or I think it was Bernie Mac that said he's glad fame came later in life. Because sometimes, as a man or woman, you have to go through whatever you go through in your life. It doesn't, whatever the junk that we have in our lives, people don't have it all together before they hit. These people, and some of these people hit when they were young. So all of a sudden they get a paycheck for being who they are. They don't change and become a great, better person. They don't have that option. They're just living life. And then you're taking a person who has these sexual things going on, and next thing you know, he can get into the VIP party. He can get to the party with drugs and alcohol. He's hosting at the Playboy Mansion. You got to realize, Bill Cosby went from being a comic, doing the clean comic, whatever he was doing, to, remember, Hugh Hefner opened the stage for black comics to get paid every week, like Dick Gregory, Bill Cosby, Flip Wilson. So all of a sudden, these black comics who couldn't get on the main stages were going to the Playboy Club. And he was like, hey, Playboy After Dark, the Playboy Comic Club. And Dick Gregory said, you can get paid $600 a week. This is in the 60s. So 50s, 60s, all of a sudden, they're getting $600 a week. And he said, if you went on Dick Cavett show or any talk show, the next thing you're getting $5,000 a show in the 60s. Wow. And nobody was making more money than Bill Cosby at that point in time.
Right.
So all of a sudden, he's hosting at the Playboy Club. He was the host of the Playboy Jazz Festival for 30 years. So, the stuff that he was around, it just took a time for them to say, okay, bro, we about to pull your card now.
Yeah, and they knew. But, Tanya, what do you feel? I've got my own feelings around this. You can't tell me that a woman is with a man and he's doing some trickery and you don't have no idea.
Doing some what? Trickery.
Some trickery. That's what I call some trickery. Some bamboo. Yeah, some bamboozlery.
A woman instinct, we the FBI, the CIA, and all that.
I'm going to kick you in your A, all of that. Yeah, but you can't tell me that. I just cannot believe that she was married to them. Any of these women, all these sexual indiscretions are popping up. And then they stand by their man. Well, good luck with that. I'm standing by my attorney. And I'm getting some of my money and I'm rolling. That's not to say the next person you're not going to be with, but I'm going to be so careful. And you bringing all these people in the bed with me, you bringing all this shame to me, and you still going to try to hang with them. The Harvey Weinsteins and Cosby's, all them.
Something happened recently, and a friend of mine real close to me, and been married to a husband for 25 years. He's been out of pocket for at least 20 of them. And when she's ready to go out the door, he flipped the script. He changed. He found the Lord. Everything is going wonderful now. And she's like,
Tanya's head went the meter went the other way.
So everything is wonderful and found the Lord doing it. Everything she wanted is there. But internally, she's still going through her thing because she was already gone. She's a professional. She was taking care of most of the stuff. And this is something that happens a lot in therapy. I have friends with therapists. They're the ones that kind of push me to do the whole love coach thing. And what happens is, and this is, and mind you, I'm a Christian man, so I believe in somebody trying to hold it down for the marriage. But if the guy has dipped years ago and y'all were separated, he left you. Y'all live in the same house, but he left you. And you're ready to go. There is no obligation there anymore. Your obligation is gone. So I think a lot of women stay out of obligation in a situation thinking that, I don't want to diss God. God is a loving father. If any woman who's had a father, if the father was there, and don't get me wrong, the love of God is a little different. If you can forgive this person and you can move on, that's great. But any loving father, if my daughter comes to me, he says, my husband doing this, my husband doing that, he's cheating on me. I want to keep it together, but what should I do, Dad? I'm like, we got a room here, baby. What else you need? You need a moving truck?
That's right.
God, it's going to be difficult, but I think people stay out of obligation because you don't understand. That's been my husband for 55 years. Okay. Yes, it has. Did you know about this? Well, But Beverly Johnson said she called the house one time and wanted to speak to him or was upset about something that happened, this, that, and other. And it said Camille was like, don't call here anymore. Of course she is. You know, she knows what's going on. She knows who she's married to.
Right.
So, and that is her choice. But
Right.
if someone came and said they had an obligation, like, no, eventually I understand part of it. But you're not supposed to be married out of obligation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be with somebody out of obligation.
Right.
You know, when you feel that's slavery.
Right.
You know, that's like you owe. That's like you think God has put you in a situation, and I just really realized it because you know I used to think, oh yeah, you get married, that's it, just that not. But I started realizing God is not holding you hostage in something that's deteriorating your soul. If it's tearing your soul and your spirit apart, God is not obligating you to stay there. So that's the thing with some people, they'll stay in situations. R.
Right.
Kelly's wife,
Right.
Bill Cosby, all these other wives, you know, I just hold it down and just knowing that your man is out there, you know, because
Trolling.
she knew before there was cell phones, she knew. So
and the thing of it is the truth be told, some of these women got their men by trolling. You know, in Hollywood, they you know was on the dip on the side, and not just Hollywood, but in general. How you catch them, how you keep them, is how you gonna lose them. Okay, that's just how it goes. Tanya, what's your position on that? What do you think? Do you think that women should, you know, stay in these situations and stand by their man, you know, being a good Christian woman, or should they run, run,
And
run?
A lot of people, and that's the thing, a lot of people take the divorce scripture and think they're going to hell because they get a divorce and they think, oh, you ain't supposed to marry twice and all this. It take the biblical content out of hand. But I believe it's not the will of God that we be in any relationship and be miserable or being happy. Cheating is a harsh and hurtful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it's
be with that person.
Can you imagine how much work they got to put in to cheat?
Yeah. I know people, even pastors that have been in relationships gotten cheated on. Now, me personally, I don't know, because I'm still got like 10% crazy in me. I mean, you really got to love that person and put in the work. Because every time you land with me, I'm going to be thinking about the person you was with. And I got questions. Why was you with them? Is it something that I did that made them go to the other person? So I'm questioning. It's gonna make you question yourself and all that. But I'm a big fan of love, and sometimes my friends are like, "Girl, you got that Hollywood love." But I believe that it's the will of God that ain't nobody gonna love you like God, of course. But somebody on earth that right and love you the way that you should be loved and deserve to be loved.
And if that person ain't nobody but yourself, you know, you got to find that self-love.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to find that self-love. Really?
Look, April, I'm all that. If you cheating on me, you crazy. Because I have everything to offer. I'm funny, I'm fine.
Exactly. So it ain't no reason to go nowhere else. Ain't no reason to go. But Troy, let me ask you a question about men. Why is it always the money and the vajayjay take it down every time? Look at it, made him disappear.
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened? I've been checking on something real quick.
I bet you was. But why is that? I don't understand that, Tanya. I really don't.
All right, ask me. Ask away. I'm just.
It has been since biblical times, since the boy bit the apple. The vajayjay and the money. That's the first thing you follow, and it take you down every time.
You said the
why are men so vulnerable? Yes, why are they so vulnerable? They can't say no, and they get all twisted up, and they get crazy. I mean, everybody.
Let me explain something to you about.
Yes, please explain something to me. I need to
explain something to you about women. God put Adam to sleep and gave him the woman of his dreams. Mm-hmm. So women were made specifically to meet every need of a man, women, period. So, and vice versa. So the attraction, and Lord knows, Franklin Ajay had this joke back in the day. It was hilarious. He said God was making man. He said, yeah, Gabriel, give me that basket over there. Give me those things about it. He said, what are these? He said, these are hormones. Let's make sure the earth will stay populated. He said, oh, okay. He said, you know what? Give me a couple more handfuls. I want him calling my name. So, in the midst of that, you know, women are amazing. I tell women all the time because doing my tour for 15 years, the Sex, Love, Relationship tour, women would always ask about, you know, how do they get a man's attention? How do they do this? I said, just be, you heard me say it in my show when I was breaking down, I said, just be feminine. And they were like, what are you talking about? I said, you're a woman. Like, do what you want to do. If you go in your closet, any woman put on a dress and some perfume, she just done knocked out 100, almost 80% of her competition.
Right.
Don't let her do makeup. She don't got to do a whole bunch. Just be a woman. You know, so and a guy somewhere.
That's all y'all do. Okay.
No, because think about it. How many guys you know that cheat up?
Right.
By the time the woman see the other woman, she's like, oh, that's Slally. Oh, she was running around. But you know what she did? She whispered a couple things. She said a little something. She at his jokes, gave him some attention. Guys, treat a man's ego like you want your emotions treated. Same scenario. So if a woman can cater to a guy's ego, she can get almost anything she wants. It's inevitable. But here's the thing, and you can do this. In the Bible, Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians 13, he says, when I was a child, I acted like a child, thought like a child, spoke like a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. Right. He's talking about that in the scripture about love. So when a man really finds love, it matures him. And usually it doesn't have to, for me, it was my daughter. It changed my perspective. Not saying I was just hoeing like I was crazy, but It changed my perspective, knowing that unconditional love was a bit deeper. And also me having a daughter and getting to know, not just because, I got a daughter, but you get to know the person. I saw her as a baby. She's becoming a little, and sometimes I just sit back and watch it. Like we could be doing some homework and stuff and I'm sitting back and watching her and listening to her. I'm like, this is a person. She's developing her mind. She's going through all this. But there's something that happens when a man finds love. What happens a lot of times, though, if a man gets hurt, and men are compartmentalizing our thinking. When a man gets hurt, the filter and the rules are out the door. And he doesn't really know how to deal with the pain. Unless he gets counseling and has some good people around him, he's just going to say, get around some guys and like, man, just go out there and find somebody else. Well, hurt people. So usually but guys get hurt when he was trying to give his first grade teacher an apple and saw her hugging her husband. He was like,
Well, and the thing is, too, is that, a lot of women think that I can fix it. I can heal him if he works with me and all that kind of stuff. To me, you need to be evenly yoked. You got to bring something to the table besides your pain and your bad credit. Okay. You got to bring something there that is worth working with.
It's the person,
when you get to a certain point,
lifting you up in any way. Is the person help? And it's not just, and I do believe in the financial.
And somebody that got some bad credit, they done been on some drugs or alcohol, they got some babies, all of that. When you get to a certain point, so what are you willing to give? What are you willing to, how much bandwidth do you have? Because everybody gonna come with some stuff. Don't they be coming with some stuff, Tanya? They be coming with some crazy stuff?
Yeah, and I had a question for Troy as well. Like, especially in relationships, your thoughts on like putting other people in your relationships. Because I'm if you're in a relationship and you have friends, that you talk to, but I don't feel like everybody should be in your relationship.
No.
The relationship between two. You got your mama, your cousin, everybody in your relationship.
No. Because there's never the person. You got to have some friends that got a kind of wisdom, and also have the friends that. If the friends that are talking about your relationship can't be friends with your mate, then where are they in their relationship? Like a lot of people come with a lot of bitter stuff. Something happens, something goes down. If your friends can't pray for your for your husband or your man, honestly, and not always when they see him, hey, how you doing? I'm like, girl, he's a good man. I know that if they don't have a devil's advocate, and that's not the person to talk to you about your relationship. I got a friend of mine. Back in, she just broke up from a guy, and she's a CEO of a big company, and she was kicking it with a guy that's not a CEO, and but she got head over heels for him. Everything was good, but people on this side was like, I don't know about this dude. She really loved him. They together all these months, but his mother was so in. Now, mind you, he's younger than her. Like she's not much younger than his mother. So he is a younger guy, but at the same, and then you look at it, you can't tell. She, black people, you can't tell how old they are. So she looks great. She got it going on. But, there was an incident he mentioned where his mother said this and his mother said that. If you are in a position where, because if all of those people are not going to bed with you and your husband every night, no. If they not, oh yeah, my mom gonna be over. She gonna take the next half, baby. I'm gonna get with you now, but my mom gonna finish you off. Okay, as long as your mom finish me off, she can talk about me later. But if they can't be in your bedroom, they don't need to be in your business.
I've always had this philosophy too, that I don't be having no extra curricular activities and extra stuff like friends hanging around my man. No way. Okay, that is my man. That is my time. That my kids laugh at me because I tell them, I said, I piss a ring of fire around mine. I am territorial. I don't need you coming over here, knocking on the door. Can I come in and wait for April? No, he knows April's not home. You better wait your butt in the car, call her on the phone. It's not.
Hey, how long you been married?
34 years. Okay.
There's a reason for that. I believe.
I don't play. So all of that friendship, he is my friend. I had the neighbor come over here. Can your husband, he ain't the handyman? Girl, you better call you somebody in the yellow pages. Can he do this? Can he do that? No, he can't do none of that.
What about friends with the exes?
They exes for a reason.
But we live in a time
like my friend RJ Jackson say, it's not an X, it's a Y. Why am I still fooling with you? Why am I still talking to you? No, they're X. It's great. I got a lot of exes that, hey, how you doing? Keep it rolling. But all of that, we don't need to be checking off the notes and all of that kind of stuff about what we did in your new relationship. Go on, do that now. Okay, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Go on, do it, boy. Okay.
You know what? I gotta agree. I mean, some people, because nowadays you have exes and you have children with them. That's a different scenario. Y'all are
right.
Children with somebody, y'all always gonna be family. Y'all need to look out for the child. I get that. But when it gets to the point of, I was talking to a friend of mine about this. Her and her husband together 25 years. They get separated because people putting in 25, 30 years, and they like, I'm done. Because you married somebody young. She married her husband when she was 19. So all of a sudden, she's not in her 40s now. She's not the same person she was when she married him as a teenager.
Right.
And he was already older. So she's already out the door. But he was like, well, I'll always be there for him and this, that, and other. And I was like, how do you think that's going to fly when you really get married to somebody who really do all the things that you wasn't getting at home? Like, he's really that husband. You think are you gonna sacrifice having that man because the man you lost or he lost you is now like, well, he's trying to be this great person, but you're about to lose. It's some real issues you have to deal with there. And it's hard because on one end, like Tanya, I'm a Christian and I believe in forgiveness and I believe in the love of God and I believe anybody can change. On the same hand, I'm like, there are certain decisions you have to make for your life to better your life. And
yes. And
God told me a long time ago when I was deciding what to do. And he said, Troy, you can move on and you can be blessed, or you can let me restore and you be greatly blessed. And I tried to do the restoration thing. It did not work. But by that time I was good because I had exhausted every possibility in trying to restore that relationship. And I'm good to move on. So it's something where, when it comes to faith, I think people use it as a crazy fact. Like Tanya said, they start using crazy scriptures and stuff and, about this, and don't forget about this. And I was like, y'all didn't read the whole book because Jesus fulfilled the law. So if that's the case, that means that forgiveness and that grace of God covers you no matter what. He said he loved you while you was yet a sinner. So he understand where your mind is.
Well, I thought you was a comedian. Sound like you a preacher the way you be quoting this scripture.
Go ahead, tell it.
Tanya, let me ask you a question.
You gotta have some study in you.
That's right. Tanya, let me ask you a question. What do you feel the roles, do you feel that there are traditional roles in relationships now? Because again, me, Mr. Magnificent, he washed the clothes, I cut the grass. I don't have no problem with that.
Hey,
But
April.
cooking a meal. I mean, cooking a meal and
Don't be going nowhere now, Troy.
I told you, girl, he disappeared. Well, anytime you see something that's a little uncomfortable, he going to check on something.
You can go back and rewind it. But do we have roles as a woman and roles as the husband?
Right. Do you think that there still should be some sort of structure, traditional roles?
Yeah, because like back in the day, like grandma time, men they took out the trash. Men they were so paying the bills. Now we have women who don't mind taking out the trash. Me personally, I like doors open for me. I'm old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I won't even date you.
I don't think that's.
I don't even think it's old fashioned. I just think that it's a sign of honor and respect. That somebody that worked all day and you come home and they got a hot meal. I don't think that that's a role or a responsibility. When the clothes is dirty and overflowing, somebody throw them in the washing machine. I don't think that that's a role or responsibility. I think it's a role and responsibility that both of y'all go out and bring home some bacon and make some money. Because if I can't do it, Mr. Magnificent need to do it, but we need to be a partnership. And you hear these people now, they have their relationships, they're married, they don't commingle their money, and they share the rent and all that kind of stuff. I said, well, shoot, you should have stayed roommates. You're not really bringing the union together. Again, I'm not going to say I'm old fashioned. I'm traditional. I like that. I like to be taken care of. So if
you're married, you think what? Well, he should pay the bills? So I know a lot of relationships. The man pays all the bills.
No, I mean, I don't think that he should pay all the bills. I think that you should become as a partner in the relationship and know that if he can't pay the bills, that I can pick up the slack. But I'm not going to let you just sit on the couch and do nothing and not go out on the grind. I'm going to tell y'all, I can't even tell you who these people are. But I got some young ladies that told me that they pay the kids' fathers for babysitting. I wish you would ask me to pay you to babysit your own child.
That's a whole nother. It's a whole nother
thing. It's some trickery. I told you some trickery. You ain't going for it.
Hey.
I'm like Tina Turner when she
yeah.
What you say?
Crazy. And then also the emasculation.
When the kids got dropped off the ice.
And it's an emasculation again. I remember in the 1980s, when the crack epidemic hit our Black community so hard, the man was out there and he was twisted up. He got put on this poison and didn't understand what was going on. And then a woman was quick to tell him, you better get out of here. I don't need you. I can do this. I can do that. So he lost his place. He lost his footing, like we done lost Troy again. But he lost his place.
You sure he ain't got no woman over there now?
I don't know what he doing behind that curtain, but it better be magic.
My daughter's here.
Oh, well, you should have invited. Oh, well, yeah, grown-up conversation.
Hey, daughter.
We don't do that game. I'm making sure she can chill and stuff like that. But I started hearing too much of her games and stuff.
That's great. But what do you feel about that before we close up? Really about the emasculation of the man. Is it coming back? I'm hoping so, because they're getting bashed pretty bad.
Somebody mentioned something recently. It's a friend of mine, Dr. Zoe Shaw. She's a psychotherapist. Somebody sent a question about what do you think about women raising grown men? And I was like, the scenario is starting to shift because if somebody were to look at it, like before my daughter was born, I was getting to the point where, most comedians want to get. You can make $4,000 or $5,000, $2,500 a show.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the road. You hit the road, you can make money. But when my daughter was born, I quickly realized that there was a certain role I was going to have to play that was more than just a father coming back and forth. When I was out of town, I couldn't focus. When I was away from my daughter, everything wasn't straight. This is what I do agree. If a man is taking care of all of the bills, your home, your love life, your children, that other side, there's a balance to life, period. If he's taking care of all the bills, that home life needs to be pristine. And then y'all need to be able to come together, and it's wonderful. If she's taking care of the majority of the bills, she needs to not want for anything. Like, there still needs to be a balance. Like, if paying a guy to babysit his children is asinine.
I know.
But if the guy is a the only way I am and would be a stay-at-home dad, because I'm a full-time father, but I have businesses that I do from here. So if you're giving your mate a chance to do businesses from home and they can take care of the children, you guys just knocked out probably about $2,000 to $3,000 a month worth of bills for the child.
Right.
So that's just wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's the togetherness. You said something. Very key, April, and the intermingling. Everybody is in this independent mode, and that's not
Right.
that's not traditional. That's not biblical. That's not cultural. Healthy interdependence is what you need. It's not independence. There's no way that says, "Oh, you gotta be independent. You gotta be on it." No, it's healthy interdependence. I am who I am. You are who you are, and we can work together to build something. And that's the communication gap. That all of a sudden everybody is for themselves, and I got my account over here. He got his account over there. No, if he's not good with money, then y'all need to get him some financial help and some counseling and see what y'all can work together. Or you just take care of the finances. If neither one of y'all can, y'all got to figure out something, bring somebody in you trust to take care of the finances.
Exactly.
If whatever it is, because someone has something to bring to the situation. And I think what it is everybody is so independent. As soon as somebody hurt them, they want to roll over, but you want to stay married. You know, so marriage is, the Greek term for marriage means the clashing together of two backgrounds. It's like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what comes.
Again, you need to have that harmony. You need to have that peace. You have to have that, trust is something that can also be a double-edged sword because it holds you beholden. Okay, well, if you cheated on me, you can't do X, Y, Z, or I won't trust you anymore. You have to be careful with that word because it can hold you hostage. But we don't want to hold you guys hostage. I thank you so much for being here on the edge with me. This has been an enlightening conversation. Yeah, you the transition. You see how that's Tanya Lewis, I want them to know about everything that you're doing. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you and your upcoming events and the play and everything.
They can follow me on Facebook. Everything's on Facebook. Comedian Tanya Lewis on Facebook. My website is www.anointedtolaugh.com. Anointed with one N and the number 2. So pretty much everything social media, Anointed to Laugh. That's my website. And comedian Tanya Lewis.
And go and check her out. Some of her videos on YouTube. They are hilarious. Troy Rollins, tell us how people can get in contact with you. You got so much going on as far as TV and travel and taking care of your daughter and cooking omelets. Tell us more how to get in contact with you.
It was on point. TroyRawlingsLive.com. If you go to TroyRawlingsLive.com, go there, get a copy of the ebook, Button Neck and Honest Conversation Foreplay for Dating.
Yikes. Look at that.
Get the book.
That's right.
Get the book, TroyRawlingsLive.com, and it shows you everything you need to know. And I really want people to hit the Dear Troy, like some of the questions we talked about. I really want people to hit the Dear Troy section, hit the contact, email me at TroyRawlings@gmail.com, and send me your questions so we can put them up anonymously because there's a lot of stuff that's helping people. A sister sent me a question about being abused, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I had 2 very close male friends that had to come out of their marriages because they were being abused. One of them was a military vet with the arsenal of guns in his basement. I had to tell him to leave the house. So yeah, it's real, man. We gotta learn how to communicate better in love.
And male or females, don't put yourself in that situation trying to be up in somebody's face. When you feel that the situation is a little heavy, go on and get in the car and cuss them out. But don't provoke. The situation. Exactly. Don't provoke the situation because it can really get ugly. And then you fail to realize that if you attack somebody, right? But if you attack somebody, they got a right to defend themselves. And then you get your face all scratched up like Bow Wow. But Brains, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Tanya, and I want to thank Troy for being here with me on the edge. This has just been so much fun. I enjoyed it. I like to switch it up here on the edge with April Mahoney. Please, Brains, go back and follow all of us on all of the hot spots, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And this show is going to be replayed until we can't replay it no more. So again, I thank you guys so much for being here on the edge, and I love you, and I wish you great success, and come on back. There's always a seat for you here in the house at the table. But next time, Troy, you gonna have to cook 3 omelets, and Tanya, we got to
see the women didn't cook nothing today. See,
see, look at them. The women ain't cooking. The women ain't cooking. All
That's
right, Brains.
another discussion.
All right, you
All
guys.
right,
I love you.
Sam, we
All
gonna
right.
connect later.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, thanks.